This video will show you the truth behind all law of attraction teachings, the fundamental principles of all of them, and how you can easily apply it so that you powerfully change your life. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the truth on all law of attraction teachings, and I'm going to show you the fundamental principles that underlies every single one of them. This is actually something I've realized after I have studied literally, I don't even know how many different concepts, different processes, different ways for going about things. And the thing that I've noticed is that there's a certain pattern, there's a certain level of consistency that flows through every single one of these teachings. And what this shows me is that there is a fundamental truth in them that underlies all of them. Now, the difference depends upon the person that is teaching whatever part of it, or the kind of way that that person thinks, and just like there's different people that have a different way of explaining things, there's different people that resonate with how certain people explain things. However, they are all rooted in this same fundamental principles, and I'm going to be sharing with you a formula that I've noticed in every single teacher and every single teaching and every single philosophy that I found works, and how you can easily apply that as well. So first off, let me go through a couple of the major teachings that you may be familiar with. And one of them may be that of Abraham Hicks. If you've heard of Abraham Hicks before, Abraham Hicks has been around for quite a while. Abraham Hicks was in the original movie The Secret before they edited it. And Abraham Hicks is someone it's Esther Hicks, but Abraham is the energy that flows through her to where she has the kind of information. I'm sure you've maybe heard of her before. And it's about understanding, the way that it's explained, it's about understanding that we're all vibration, that everything that we want to create is from a certain vibration, understanding that what we should do or what we must do is increase our state of being, that when we increase our state by getting in what is called the vortex, or by feeling better, always thinking of the next best feeling thought, next best feeling thought, next best feeling thought, and then focusing on what we want, we experience more of what we want. So it is mainly about understanding how to think in correlation with what we want to experience. But nonetheless, it's about the emotion, and it's about the thinking, it's about the direction of our thoughts. So Abraham Hicks has been around a long time. Many people have heard a lot of the content from them, and that's something I find to be powerful. However, it's rooted in this idea of increase the state of being, increase how you feel, think of the next best feeling thought, and then from there, focus on what you want. Now let's look at someone like Tony Robbins. I've been diving a lot into Tony Robbins' content lately because I have been just interested in the value. He teaches a lot about values, how to understand how we value things in our life and how those values control the destiny of our life. So I find it very interesting. But I've been studying his philosophy as well. And guess what? It's rooted in almost the same type of energy, the same type of thing. It's increase your state of being. Our state of being controls our life. Understanding how to take control of the factors that come into play. So how to control what we associate pain with, what we associate pleasure with, so that we can then use that for our advantage. But nonetheless, a lot of what he talks about is focusing on what we want, taking action, being in the vibration that we want. So he talks a lot about taking action, and he talks about that of focus. So it's focus, state of being, taking action. What are the consistencies we see here so far? State of being and focus. What about Abraham Hicks? State of being and focus. Now let's look at a newest one that I've been really all about within the last 8 months, and that is the process called Reality Transurfing. Reality Transurfing is a book that was written by a quantum physicist in Russia named Vadim Zeland. It's a book that brings into consideration the way reality works, understanding it from energy dynamic level, how to align with the best version of ourselves. And what it has to do with the understanding that there's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist, and that we can experience what we want by embodying the frequency now. So we don't have to create it, because from the point of view of quantum physics, it already exists. It's about simply aligning with that energy. So because of that, there is this common thread that you use with reality transurfing. Reality transurfing literally means something that is called transurfing through the alternative space, surfing through the alternative space, which sounds a little bit weird. It's like, what does that mean? It means things are easier. It means gliding through the process. And the way that you do reality transurfing has to do with your state of being, with being connected to your heart, and with having what is called a slide, having this focus on what you want to experience. If you want to learn more on reality transurfing, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description box to a playlist of my top reality transurfing videos that explain the process A to Z. But nonetheless, guess what? It's a similar rendition to that of all the other teachings. It's that of understanding. If you align your emotion to the focus that you have and you embody it, then you experience what you want. I found it to be very powerful as well, because what reality transurfing makes is different than a lot of the other teachings is it really talks about decreasing importance and having the right alignment to what we want to experience. Because anytime we put something on a pedestal, we create resistance around it, and with that resistance, it then happens to where we block it from our experience, because what we're saying is, I really, really want that. I really, really don't have that, is what that means. So here also is another teaching that maybe you've heard of. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza was in a documentary called What the Bleep Do We Know? He's written some books like How to Break the Habit of Being Yourself. He's written books such as Becoming Supernatural, The Science of Going Beyond the Ordinary, something like that. I don't know the exact title, but it was something like that. And he's an author, and he also does a lot of seminars. But nonetheless, he's very good at what he does, and he teaches people how the quantum physics of how they create their reality and how to embody the best versions of themselves now. So, what is his formula? His formula is actually the same as almost every single other person. It's just explained in a little bit different way. The formula is simply this. Combine the intention you have and increase that intention you have by having a clear focus of what you want to experience, and couple that with an elevated emotion. So a lot of what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about in his newest books is how to connect the energy of our heart and how to increase the energy field around our body by going beyond that of our body. But nonetheless, it's rooted in a similar ideology of increase the feeling in your heart, which is the emotion, and then increase the amount of intention you have by being very clear as to what you want to experience. So, in a same way, every single one of these teachings are rooted in that of simply this. Increase your emotion, increase your state of being, and sometimes what this may mean, as it all rhymes all the time, all right, I'm done, is what you want to do is, even if you had negative experiences in the past, you want to allow those to be there. You want to observe them, and then what you want to do is you want to make the conscious choice to let them go. Because then what happens is you let go of patterns that don't serve. Tony Robbins would say that you let go of patterns that don't serve, and by letting go of those patterns, you start to condition yourself in a completely new way. Abraham Hicks might say that as you stop paying attention to the thoughts that you were thinking before, you start bringing in those characteristics of those kind of life experiences. And as you keep thinking on the next best thought, next best thought, next best thought, you leave that old past behind. You see, the past does not equal who we are. We are who we choose to be in the present moment right now. And the only way that we reiterate the past into the future is if we keep telling ourselves the story that keeps us tied to the past. That's what Tony Robbins, Abraham Hicks, even Reality Transurfing, Dr. Joe Dispenza, they all talk about something similar, where it's the story, the same thoughts. Dr. Joe Dispenza would say 90% of what we think is recycled from the day before, of the 60 to 70,000 thoughts we think a day. Therefore, we create the same thing over and over again. We think the same thoughts, we trigger the same emotions, we take the same actions, We therefore create the same things over and over and over again. We have to get outside of that pattern thinking. So the key is to let all of this go and understand that we can be who we prefer to be in the present moment. Let go of the story. Let go of anything that's holding you back and understand that you can reframe it, and what can happen is you can reframe it in a positive way, and that can drive you. You can literally transmute all of that so that you start to put that into a powerful direction. But nonetheless, what is it about? Taking that story, observing it, letting it be there, and then letting it go. The only way that changes is with conscious choice. If we're not aware of it, we cannot change it. We cannot change what we do not own, and we cannot change that which we are not aware of. So all these teachings have in common that it's about letting go of the story we tell ourselves. Understanding that we are who we choose to be in the present moment right now. Understanding that the more we condition ourselves in the present moment, the more we experience what we want. Tony Robbins calls this NAC, neuro-associative conditioning. This is where we condition in ourselves what we want, the patterns that we want, to focus on what we want, to associate so much pleasure with what we want that we then start to move towards it. Because there's these two mechanisms in our lives that control our whole entire life. And that's the same for everyone. This is the exact same mechanism that works for every single person on the planet, whether they're aware of it or not. We will always move in the direction of what we associate or what we think will bring us pleasure, and we'll always move away from that which we associate or think will bring us pain. Same for every person. The difference is what people associate with pain and pleasure. That has to do with their values. That has to do with the way they see themselves, their self-image. But what you can begin to do is understand what you associate with pain and pleasure, and associate pleasure with being the best version of yourself. Associate pleasure with going in the direction that you want. For Dr. Joe Dispenza, that would be going beyond that which is normal, going beyond that which is ordinary, experiencing more in our reality by thinking new thoughts, by stretching outside of what is priorly comfortable, becoming comfortable and familiar with the unfamiliar or the uncomfortable. And that takes repetition, that takes conditioning. Neuro-associative conditioning for Tony Robbins, conditioning for Dr. Joe Dispenza. Abraham Hicks, let's get in the vortex. Get in his vortex. Think positive thoughts. Think these thoughts that make you feel good. Pay attention to how you feel. Move up the vibrational scale. And then you begin to increase your vibration. And when you increase your vibration, things just happen. Things happen very powerfully. In reality transurfing, it's understanding how to be connected to our heart. It's understanding how to know things can be easy, have a clear picture of what we want, and make the choice to do that. Because in reality transurfing, you don't have to try to do anything, you simply choose it. You don't create your own reality, you choose it because it already exists. It comes at it from the point of outcome. Now here's another similar thing between a lot of these teachings. Outcome. So, Abraham Hicks, focus on what you want. Tony Robbins, have clear outcomes. If you don't have outcomes, you don't have direction. Have a clear outcome of what you want to experience. Simply set more goals. You set more goals, you have outcomes, you'll be able to make these things more probabilities. Reality transurfing. Become clear as to what you want, because the more intentions you set, the more you experience what you want. Having more intentions will transform your life. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Very similar. Understanding the more we focus on anything, the more we bring that into our life. These are all rooted in the very similar, the same type of ideology. You will resonate with whichever one you find most value in or you relate to the most. Maybe you relate to Tony Robbins the most. Or maybe part of you is like, no, I like Dr. Dispenza because I like the quantum physics side of it. No, I like the more esoteric stuff, so I like reality transurfing. No, I like to be very simple in general. I like Abraham Hicks. Whichever one you like, it's your cup of tea. It's totally cool. But the key is to be aware of what that is, but understand they're all rooted in the same fundamental thing. What do I teach on my channel? Beliefs create our reality. So it's a very similar type thing. Put the energy in the direction that you want. Have the focus. increase your state of consciousness, which is increase your state of being, and align with who you really are. These are all rooted in the same fundamental principles. But we can have different flavors of the month, if you will. There may be some that you enjoy because you relate to it for a certain period of time. The key is to be aware of what that is and to simply decide that this works for me. Here's the thing. The true power is not in any process that anyone shares with you. The true power is within you and the permission you give it to work. Many of these are just tools. There's certain processes, certain ways to go about it, but the true power is within you, and whichever one resonates with you more will be the one that works for you. For some people, they may just I'm just going to stick with this one process. Abraham Hicks. I'm going to think better thoughts, I'm going to get into this vortex, and I'm going to experience everything I want. That works. I know people that's all they do, and they get amazing results from it. I know people that follow Tony Robbins, very to the book, everything he says, and they get amazing results from it. I know people that follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I know people that follow Reality Transurfing. It's all the same. Go with what works for you. But understand that the reason there's a thread that goes through all of these is because it's rooted in something that works. And that's what is powerful. So, whichever one you want, know that if you believe it works, then it will. Know there's a thread of truth that lies through all of these, and it's a powerful tool for you to use, but the main power exists within you. This is the truth of all law of attraction teachings. This is what you can begin to apply. Set more intentions. Understand that as you elevate your emotion and as you increase your intention, you're going to be creating a powerful manifestation of what you want in your life. And as you move in that direction, everything in your life will change. Now, just like I was talking a minute ago about that process of reality transurfing, one of my most powerful meditations is understanding how to align with our goals in a completely new way, understanding how to make things natural for us, how to decrease the importance we give to our goals. I have a free guided meditation that will show you exactly how to do that. I recommend you listen to it for 21 days to get the maximum benefit out of it. It's going to be in the top of the description box below. It's absolutely free. I also will be doing more live Q&As on Instagram, so if you want to ask me questions, if you want to interact with me, you'll see the link below to follow me on Instagram, and you can ask questions over there. Other than that, as always, I hope you enjoyed this process. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little notification gear next to the subscribe button so that you can see the daily vids that I do. The way YouTube does things now is you actually have to hit that button to see the daily vids. So make sure you hit it because I got a lot more good stuff coming. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.